Yes, I. 2016, baby. Go easy. Read it. Grab your thermometer. Grab your thermometer. On the road. Mass in your place. Somebody call the doctor. Call him. Call him. Temperature. She wanna feel good. I put it in a bunker and I put it in a soup. Yeah, I stick it in a car back. She tell me take it up. I asked her what she wanted. She said put it in a bowl and stick it. Stick it. Yes, sir. Yeah, stick it. What you want me to do? Stick it. Yes, stick it. Yes, stick it. Yes, sir. She want me stick it in a mouth. Wake up to the morning, my girl feeling sick. I asked her what she wants, said she wanted a stick. I went and grabbed the bushie, I went and grabbed the fix. I asked her where to put it, she said put it on my lips. Just stick it. Rub it, stick it. Yes, stick it. What you want me to do? Stick it. Thermometer. Stick it. Yes, stick it. She want me stick it in her mouth. He said to the morning, I just can't miss. Oh, somebody call the doctor, he need to handle this. He put her on the glove and then he grab the thermostat. He tell her put it in your mouth and hold it just like that. Stick it. Hold it, hold it. Stick it. Yes, stick it. What you want me to do? Stick it. Stick it. Okay. Yes, stick it. Tell me. Tell me. You want me stick it in her mouth? My thermometer big. My thermometer long. If a temperature rise, then my thermometer high. My thermometer big. My thermometer long. If a temperature rise, then my thermometer high. Big up the bush road massive. Organize yourself. Set up, set up. You don't know. June of the year. The doctor. 2016. Is there a problem? A problem. Stick it. Stick it. Yeah, stick it. Wait.
Get off me! Y'all ain't nothing without me. I'm made your asses. You can't fire me. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Y'all can't do me like this. You ungrateful son of a bitches.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Sitting Dick. All right. I had to sit down because I lost 2 hours of my life today that I will never get back. I will never get back the 2 hours that I wasted watching the Parliament meeting today. It was so hard for me to dissect. And then I was like, you know what? Confusion. I'm not doing it. So, what is happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? Firefighters. Yes, let's talk about what matters. The firefighters have some grievances, and the grievances has to do with empty promises from our current Prime Minister, Miss Sylvia Jacobs, who more vexed than anybody else when it comes to fixing the solutions here in St. Martin. You swear to God she ain't the Prime Minister of this country because the way that she handled the firefighters today, I couldn't believe it. This is unbecoming of a Prime Minister of a country. Now, I know I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, so let me give you some of the highlights of what happened today. Firefighters are sick of the bullshit that this government is continuing to move the goalpost when it comes to the promises made to our firefighters. Now, the Ministry of General Affairs is in charge of the fire department. As much as people want to blame the Minister of Justice, this time you can't blame her because the responsibility lies with our Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of General Affairs. Okay? Good. Today, the firefighters went on a protest. They did a protest at the government administration building. They gathered in front of the building. And then when they did, they were ignored because they were told that they were going to have a meeting today with the Prime Minister. And then, of course, in the good old-fashioned National Alliance leader, Sylvia Jacobs' way of doing things,
She canceled on them last minute. That didn't sit well with the firefighters, so they put on the siren and basically disrupt work at the government administration building and everywhere around, because you can imagine how loud that sound was. It rang throughout the entire Phillipsburg because they wanted to get the attention of a government official. Yes. All right. So let me first start with the president of the WICSU, PSU, and that is Sharon Kanagita, who explained some of the grievances that these firefighters have.
And the purpose that the truck, along with the suits, as you can see, they are laid out here and laid out in front of the truck, is the safety for both you and me. The firefighters have been asking for a change of suits, which is their fire suits that they use to go into fires for your safety, my safety, the community's safety. And they have been ignored. It was requested by NRPB according to information received by the union. The sizes that came were in error. They were wrong sizes. And since then, I think it was said 2018, the battle has been ongoing to get the firemen their proper suits to be able to fight fires. Now, besides fighting fires, they do other services within the community that require them to put on this particular suit. I will ask one of the shift leaders to go further into details as to what happens when they perform those type of duties. However, if you look at that suit that's sitting there, you would see that that is not suitable for anybody, not even if you want to go out a little bush fire, to go into a fire with. Number two, some of these suits are 10 years old. And we do know that you either get fat or you get skinny. So how can you expect the firefighters to be safe operating in the same suit or the same materials that they have been operating in for the last 10 years? Secondly, we did notify the Minister of General Affairs that this was an urgent matter. And it became an urgent matter even more so with several issues that they had to handle within the last couple of days. So it escalated. The hygiene is not there. When it was COVID, we all talk about sanitization, 6-foot distance, all kind of preparations we needed for COVID. But here they are, facing it every day, and nobody is looking at their safety. Where's their sanitization? Where's their 6 feet distance? Nobody is looking at that. As union, I will stand behind them with whatever mandate they give me. That's how we are moving. As a team, we are going to make a difference. This government will know that the firefighters exist. This government will know they are not only there when you need them in the jaws of life. This government will know that those suits are irresponsible decisions made for them to wear. And I don't care if it's NRPB, I don't care if it is advisory council, I don't care who it is, and I don't care if it's a council of ministers. My first and foremost responsibility are to the members of WICSU PSU Union. And I will stand with them until they get what they deserve. Not what they want, but what they deserve. And what they deserve is to be heard. They didn't ask for an increase in salary. They didn't ask for their function book that has been outdated for God knows how long and don't exist. They didn't come here for that. They came here for your safety and my safety. And guess what? Other meetings take precedence over them. We got a very pretty email, and I would hope that it wasn't the Prime Minister herself that wrote that email. Because when you can address grown men in a sentence and say, nevertheless, even though you all were told in a general meeting what transpired, here goes what the fire department is saying. I think that's quite rude. And instead of listening to them, you reference the LMA, telling them that they should be on the job. But you're not giving them the tools to be on the job.
Now, after that, we have, some more sirens, and then the Prime Minister finally had to come outside. I know she had to roll her eyes and go like, oh, what is wrong with these fire people? When these fire people are the ones who are supposed to be, at work and hopefully taking out the fires. Now, I know the Prime Minister is too busy taking out political fires, but that's none of the business of our hardworking firemen and firewomen out there. So she had to come out, and she came out with her secretary, and she was, listen, if I was a firefighter, that thing would have gone down different. Because the way that they handled that was unprofessional and unbecoming of a prime minister. I said it before, I'll say it again. If you don't want to handle your job, prime minister, resign. Go do something else. Or go back to becoming a teacher. Do something else with your life than to treat our hard-working civil servants with the disrespect you did today. This is what we caught in front of the government administration building today.
Mr. Finish around 2. So let's say 2. I have another appointment at 4. So between 2 and 4 is my availability today. That would have been given to you today, and we had the opportunity.
No, you had the opportunity, but it wasn't given
Let's
to
stay
us.
respectful. Let's stay respectful.
Minister, we are respectful because you...
Did she just hold her hand? What? And the thing is, what? St. Martin is not a real place. The Prime Minister is outside, and you have your secretary coming in the discussion while the Prime Minister is trying to de-escalate the situation. And it is so, I don't understand what they were thinking. I just don't understand. This is her whole office. Everybody just rude in their ass, and they have no respect for nobody, and they just want to do whatever they want because they have title. Let's continue.
You are saying to me,
I'm not going to get in a shouting
we
match
get in a
with you.
shouting match with you
Are you
either.
willing to meet with me
Okay.
this afternoon or tomorrow at 1?
Minister, with all due respect, we sent you an email. And the response we got back was
that 9 was impossible.
9 was not possible, but we will revert to you as soon as.
Because I was not on the
You did
island,
now,
so
you
they
are
had to check
saying,
with me.
Minister,
And I came back last night.
well, we got an email last night. We didn't get it today.
You got it
got
at
it?
5, I arrived here after 5. So I haven't been able to meet to set
We are
a
not
time.
responsible for your
Okay,
schedule.
fine. So I
Okay.
just gave 2
You
proposals.
just gave 2
which are-
proposals that you're giving now.
But that is
Had we
what-
gotten those proposals, they would not have been out here. What we got this morning,
How could we give it to you
Prime
before
Minister,
this morning?
Minister of General Affairs, with all due respect, everybody knows that I am a woman of dialogue. I am a woman that speaks.
And I have been
However,
dialoguing with you on every turn.
correct. And I find it very, 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 very irresponsible for the email that I received telling me or telling them, nevertheless, since they received the update in their management meeting, here goes from the fire department. And it's a repeat of what was said to them. Yes, but there wasn't
And
anything
I am
coming from
willing-
you.
But how can anything come from me until I meet with management? I have
But you did not
paper.
in that email.
In any case,
there wasn't.
gentlemen,
No. There's not in any
Miss
case,
Canagita,
Minister. You said
Miss
respect.
Canagita.
Respect is not in any case.
Miss Canagita, this is a shouting manner. This is not solving anything.
But you're not the Prime Minister.
And I'm asking you, are you
You are getting in here too.
Listen, hold on a minute.
Minister of
Hold on a
General
minute.
Affairs.
Hold on a minute.
No, I'm asking you to respect me.
Miss Canagita,
Let me
I'm
speak to the
standing here,
minister.
Miss Canagita.
But she's
Miss
speaking to me.
Miss Canagita, but I was speaking to you.
Good.
This is
Then
not
you need to leave it go.
necessary.
Good.
This is not necessary.
And we were
All of
avoiding
the
this.
hand waving isn't necessary.
Well, that's my way of
I am
expressing
trying
myself.
to express to you in front of
Wave
your
it goes to
members,
Minister.
in front of your members,
Yes.
that I am willing to meet. It was not possible this morning.
No, you said it was not
because-
possible today. I can read the email
Okay,
to
regardless,
you. No,
because
not regardless.
when I say
that is a very
Because of
disrespectful
this,
conjunction.
I'm pushing this afternoon. Of course, I have more meetings, but I move other
We all have meetings.
I
Okay, we
moved
all
the
have
meeting
things to do.
accommodate this afternoon 2 to 4. If that is not possible, it's tomorrow at 1. Which one do you prefer?
Which one do you have more time to hear the grievances or
Tomorrow
more?
at 1.
Then we will do it tomorrow at 1.
Thank
So
you.
then we would not have a time limit as to when you cannot hear what their grievances
I am
are.
open to hear everything, and I would want management here as well. Because
That's
they're
okay.
the one. Thank you.
That's okay.
So I am trying to reach management, and I have been able to reach them since this spectacle started today.
This is
And
not
I
a
didn't
spectacle.
think this was necessary
This is not
because
a
I'm
spectacle,
open to
Minister.
meet.
This is not a
I am
spectacle.
open to meet, so that's not
This
consistent.
is the reason why
I
this
never said I
happened.
wasn't meeting. So
It's a
if
communication.
I refuse to meet, I can understand this, but I never refused to meet. I just arrived last night.
You are not the
Get
one
me
sending the
understanding.
emails. Maybe you need to speak to who's representing you in your
We have
office.
contact. In any
Okay.
case, tomorrow at 1. Have a good one.
Yes, and that's the reason why. Give a last one, how to go.
So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. Again, ridiculous. And I think we should be able to do better. Now, speaking about doing better, let's talk about the circus that took place today. Member of Parliament, President of Parliament, Grisha Martin, has been removed as the President of Parliament. To be clear, she is still a Member of Parliament. So, she wasn't sent home. Members of Parliament can't do that. The only people who could do that is you, the voter. The voters are the ones that pick the Members of Parliament, and unfortunately, we're stuck with them for 4 years unless they have a snap elections. Good. Now, in Parliament, they had 15 members of Parliament, and according to the vote, 8 members voted to remove MP Heiliger Martin, while 7 voted against. The hypocrites of the opposition decided to vote in favor of keeping the chair, even though in November of 2020, it was a different story. Oh, you didn't know what happened in November 2020? Well, I'm going to show you one of these days, because I went through it, and I was like, this is gold, because you could see the double speak that happened in Parliament today in defense of the President of Parliament, the former President of Parliament. And it was hilarious. To me, it was hilarious. But let me give you your highlights, the most important parts of the meeting, so then we could break down the circus that took place today.
Madam Chair Lady, I remember that what this parliament was like after the February 26, 2018 election. I remember it very well. It's my father's birthday, and it was the second election I voted in since returning home. It was the first election for the speaker prior to me. And he did indeed end up in Parliament after that election. As a former Teen Times colleague, I was happy to see another young person enter into this arena. But it's curious to hear talk about respect and fake defense when the same speaker before me spent a majority of time complaining about the biasness of the chair of Parliament in that particular Parliament and parliaments thereafter. Because the very same justification being given now for this agenda point is indeed the reasons why the people bringing this agenda point to you wanted MP Westcott removed from the presidency of Parliament. So the double speak, something I'm not unaccustomed to with this coalition, is very concerning to me. It's also curious to hear talk about respect and fake defense in a coalition where a president of Parliament was caught on tape disrespecting not just his coalition colleague and the founder of the party that saw fit to make him leader, but the people of St. Martin in general, by alluding to collusion with 2 ministers, one of whom they drag people in here to save from accountability. Madam Chair Lady, I ask the people of St. Martin not to allow themselves to continue to be gaslit by this coalition, this government, when I think of the psychological damage being carried out on this country by these people, it's actually very saddening. I'm not here to defend any one person, but I am here to defend the presidency of Parliament, which is supposed to be objective, unbiased, no matter who selects them. In the kingdom, there's even precedence for an opposition member being the president of Parliament. And Madam Chair Lady, it's funny to try to put words in my mouth when you yourself has heard from my true feelings from my own mouth. That's the thing. As the speaker before me well knows, I have always said to everyone, when I am coming, you will know, because I will let you know as a courtesy to brace yourself. What I see here, Madam Chair, is variations of narcissism, Napoleon syndrome, a host of other things I'm sure I could look up on whatever website and say it here, but I myself believe in clinical diagnoses, so I'll leave it to that profession to decide. But it is something to say about the legacies that we set down in this Parliament. We are new to this Parliament. We have conducted ourselves with transparency, integrity, no matter what people may say. Because when you feel threatened, you take measures to protect yourself. And when you don't feel threatened, you don't.
As a reminder, I will say a message to the public via you, Madam Chair, here, is that when whatever happens, pay attention to what is done to bring this island up to another level, to empower the people of this island, to improve our livelihoods, because that is what we are here for. That is what all of us here postulate ourselves for. And if we're gonna continue occupying ourselves with things that is not the importance to our people of this island, then we're gonna have a big problem here. So again, I'm gonna just say my message to the public. Watch what we are all doing. Thank you.
One of my colleagues said, and I also will repeat that too, it is nothing personal against the chair. I worked 20 years or more, Madam Chair, with the mother of the chair. I had a very good relationship. So when I do or say something, Madam Chair, especially in this instance, it is based on the matter of professionalism and the manner in which not is perceived, but it is proven that on this floor of Parliament, Madam Chair, the chair did tell the minister that he does not need all that time to answer questions. And as was said before, also in discussion with email or telephone, was told that the meeting will continue whether he's here or not, even though he asked for more time. Madam Chair, because of these instances, Madam Chair, I started paying close attention to the convocations. Because once I see a date in a meeting, it's either public or whatever, committee meetings, is that date, that's the hour, I'll be attending. But when I start paying attention, I see to be confirmed. And I asked the chair, I said, you know, I just realized it's to be confirmed. So I would have thought that when an agenda point is placed on the convocation, it means that the minister has already been contacted. But apparently, I'm not correct, so I'll leave it at that. Madam Chair, the matter of a simple resignation. Look where we are today. A simple resignation, Madam Chair. And Madam Chair, I will not quote, the lust for power leads to loss of humanity and self-destruction. I'll leave it alone.
Meanwhile, two members of Parliament went at it like school kids on a recess break. And I could tell you this. It reminded me of Frankie Myers back a couple of years ago, who did the, remember when he stood in Parliament and he told, I think it was Doran or Atwell Irion, I think it was Atwell Irion, he was like, know your place. It reminded me of, it reminded me so bad.
We've heard certain so-called seasoned members of Parliament go on the radio and plain out tell the public that the President of Parliament is here to serve the coalition. A constant pattern of setting the bar lower and lower and lower. That's what this coalition has been about. But don't be fooled, people of St. Martin. The position of President of Parliament is there to be objective and to serve the people, not to serve the coalition or to serve the government. That statement is a plain out amateuristic lie and holds absolutely no legal weight. It is the duty of the Chairperson of Parliament to make sure that these meetings are not hijacked, not by MPs and especially not by ministers. Serve the people, Madam Chair. That's what the answer should be. Madam Chair, they are requesting you to resign today, while the sentiment out there by most people in St. Martin is that actually one of these MPs has to resign himself. Subjecting the Parliament of St. Martin to a deadlock risk for almost a year now, to my opinion, is the most irresponsible act any MP can perform, let alone stubbornly refusing to leave the office of minister after Parliament has voted you out.
And to hear a particular member constantly attacking my being ill, my being sick, and my being not able to be on St. Martin, I think it is unfortunate. And one of these days will take probably more time when we have a full round to address this again. And Madam Chair now alluding to the fact that almost 9 months and holding the Parliament hostage. Madam Chair, the Parliament is not being held hostage by me. There are 15 members of Parliament, and if one is not there, the other 14 got to work in the interest of St. Martin. And the hostage holding can only be on the part of those in opposition when they see an opportunity to misuse that opportunity to create a deadlock in Parliament and then want to blame it on someone else and then use sickness of all things. That is the essence of cowardice. That is the essence of cowardice, to use the sickness of someone else to put forward your own agenda. Madam Chair, it is simple. It is simple. Democracy is about majority. It's the numbers. You don't have the numbers, you did not win. If there is an election and you did not get sufficient votes, you do not have a seat. You can't claim seats that you did not win. And if we look at how democracy functions, it is the majority that rules, not the minority.
Madam Chair, I for one am not one to victimize myself regardless of my illness. A pregnant woman only gets 3 months maximum of zwangerschapsverlof. She gets pregnancy leave for a maximum of 3 months. So to sit here and hear somebody feel entitled to the position of Member of Parliament and say that because of his sickness, he is allowed to stay as a Member of Parliament, come to St. Martin for maybe a month, and then leave back, and then to justify that, to victimize himself and use his sickness to get an emotional reaction, I don't fall for it. I don't fall for it. Because what we heard just now is, what do you call that word, MP Gums? Flubber, So just now the good Member of Parliament said that there is a democracy. A democracy looks at the votes, and if you're not elected, you are not getting a seat. That's what the good gentleman said. But to that same extent, the next person in line on that same political list also was voted on. Because it's very ironic to hear somebody speak about being elected directly while he is the only member within his four-man faction that was actually elected directly. All the others came in because the ministers came in. So to that same extent, why can't the next MP become in because he resigns? Do not use your own sickness to emotionally hijack the people of St. Martin.
A majority of Parliament selects the President of Parliament. I maintain that point. And if anyone, like we've had members of the Parliament that are currently in opposition that will go to the Prime Minister and say, Prime Minister, are you ready to join? You know, don't worry, or you could call me. If they want to join, or you or anyone else decides they now want to be a part of this coalition, there can always be a discussion about that. The thing about it is, Madam Chair, again, coming back to the fact that within our party, our most senior member in this party in terms of his time of service in this parliament is MP Bijlani. I think we both know he's a very fair person, he's very stoic and reserved. And he did not come to this conclusion to sign on to such a meeting very easily. He met with you, he met with us. We had a mediator that we assigned, also a prominent member of the party. We have continued to try. And it is quite a contrast to when a situation happened with me, where members of the party are facing me and saying, you know what, Rolando, for the good of the party, for the good of, easing everyone, let us agree to, Rolando, you step down as chair. Madam Chair, I took 2 or 3 days. I asked, let me just think about it. And I made the decision. I did not allow this to go out into the public sphere and votes and all of this, because I decided that I don't want to put all my colleagues in this situation, whether I believe it or not. But the party that I am a part of matters as well. Their views, their positions. And again, if anyone wants to maybe make this seem that this is just MP Bryson, and I'm sure you know, all the members of the UP party know that I've continuously consulted step by step about this situation. And it is deeper than what we're facing today. We all know that. But 2 people for sure I will single out that I've listened to very carefully about this situation is our most senior member of Parliament, MP Bijlani, and our very hardworking minister, Omar Atley. And I would not do anything without consulting with our party, because that is important. If we want to come back to what the UP party was originally about, which is a party that believes that there's economic opportunity for everyone, then I cannot exemplify behavior that only thinks about one person. I have to think about everyone, Madam Chair. And that is the balance that I seek to strike. I do think that some of the comments about whether it's how you conduct meetings and so on, Madam Chair, maybe that would be the position of some of them. That is not where I seek the position. We have a deeper issue here that we will continue, that at least myself and the other members within the party will continue to try to reach out to you on. But in order for us to move on and get this parliament and get the coalition and everybody going into this last term where we can see other parties are already going into their election mode and changing their tune from, well, the chair don't speak to me too. I support the chair, Madam Chair. This is all politics. That's all fine. We're all used to that. But the essence of what we're here to do today and what we're here to do in Parliament is to work for the people. And again, I say, do not allow a chair. I never allowed that chair to define my work. My work continued. The banking legislation, budget amendments, representation in Parliament, everything continues, because one thing no one can take from you is your seat, Madam Chair. So I thank you once again. And again, I also want to say a special thank to my colleagues and all within the party, including MP Bijlani and Omar Atley. Thank you, Madam Chair.
One fact that I believe that was not mentioned in all of this, and I'm quite surprised that none of my colleagues in the coalition mentioned it, is that when the decision was taken for MP Bryson to step down as the chair of Parliament, this was indeed a coalition agreement, and there's so much that can be said that I will not divulge, because I think sometimes when you are having internal discussions, that is what it should be. It should remain internal discussions, because that is also elevating the standards, what we are accustomed to. It was a decision taken, I think, by the majority in the coalition eventually, that MP Bryson would step down, but also that after he would have gone through his time, that he would resume the position of the President of Parliament. That too was a discussion and a decision that was taken. Besides that, I also want to say that, power is something that I've come to also realize changes people. Some utilize it for the best interest of the country and others not. And there's so many things that I know standing here today that have transpired throughout this situation that I will not stand here and talk about. I will not go on the radio and discuss it either. But what I will say is that the people of St. Martin indeed need to wake up and see what is really going on here. Madam Chair Lady, this is not personal. because I think we have also had a very amicable working relationship, but I believe the fact was left out. A decision was taken, agreement was made, and this is where we are today, where the agreement is going to be upheld. I also want to make people understand one last thing, that it is not power that corrupts people, but it is people that corrupts power. I will have to vote in favor because of a decision and a coalition agreement that was made. And that is how I defend my vote today. Thank you.
I'm not here to make friends. And in politics, you need to have thick skin. And I've had thick skin since 1995. That's how much experience I have in politics with thick skin. Being with someone that I truly love and having him being whiplashed many times. We have thick skin. And we deal with it because we know who we are and who we stand for and what we stand for. We are here to represent the people to the best of our ability. This is the job. Voting your conscience. This is the job. It's about being impartial, consulting with the people, and doing what's right by the people. So if today I'm asked to resign or being fired for a job that I am doing right by the people, then so be it. Then people of St. Martin, let the chips fall where they fall, and let's start with the voting. I now turn the floor over to the Secretary General.
MP Christophe Emmanuel.
Against.
MP Melissa Gums.
Against.
MP William Marlin. For. MP George Ponteflet.
For.
MP Rayon Peterson.
Against.
MP Hyacinth Richardson.
For.
MP Angelique Rameau.
For.
MP Ludmila De Weaver.
Against.
MP Sarah Westcott Williams.
Against.
MP Akeem Arundel.
For.
MP Sidhar Bijlani.
For.
MP Rolando Bryson.
For.
MP Chanel Brownbill. MP Solange Duncan.
Against.
Chair Lady of Parliament Grisha Helga Martin.
Against. The votes were carried 8 for and 7 against. I'm going to be making an announcement at 3:30 live on Facebook this afternoon. Please tune in, and I thank you, and I would like to now close this meeting. Meeting closed. Meeting closed.
Okay, so you want to know what her announcement was? Yes, we're going to bring you the announcement also. In short, it was 11 minutes and also waste of time because she resigned from the United People's Party, her husband's party. Go figure. This is what she said.
This woman you see here today is a woman who has been raised with the principles of integrity, dignity, and most importantly, a woman of faith. A woman who isn't afraid to stand alone, remain true to herself, and do the best that she can for this country and its people, so that I am able to look myself in the mirror and be proud of who's looking back at me. I embrace every challenge and every weapon formed against me as a means to learn and grow even stronger, and use it as a motivation to continue working loyally for the people of St. Martin. Today, I say with mixed feelings that the UP party is no longer recognizable as a party I've grown to love, that I supported and helped brand and build. I can't even begin to explain what the party stands for anymore. The greenhouse is in such disarray financially and has been led rudderlessly to an oblivion with no vision. It has been broken into splinters, and I often found myself wondering, where can I even start with putting it back to its former glory? With that being said, I would like to hereby tender my resignation from the UP party, effective immediately. In closing, I would like to thank the original board members of the UP Party, which was installed through the Congress of November 2019. Former UP board member, Mrs. Sylvia Myers, former UP board member, Mr. Mike Granger, existing board member, Mr. Alfred Harley, existing board member, Ms. Gina Illich, and existing board member, Ms. Claudia Lista. Also to the associate board members, Mr. Francisco Lacruz, Mr. Alston Lawrence, and Mr. Cresbert Brown. I would like to thank all the candidates. Oh yes, I want to thank the candidates for giving me the opportunity to serve as an UP candidate elect, because rightfully so, I did not obtain this seat on my own. And last, but surely not least, I would like to thank my husband, whom, as we all know, will not be in the political arena anytime soon, or potentially not. That's all that counts. Your undying and unwavering love for me. And as the wife of the founding father of the UP Party, it has been my pleasure to serve in this party as the second overall highest vote getter of the party since its inception. Of course, on the curtail of my husband.
Confused yet? Because I know. I am. In any case, many people are asking, okay, Andrew, so what happens now? Absolutely nothing. The government will continue to say that they have support. And members of parliament are going to continue feeling very bad and sad for losing Grisha Martin as the chairperson of parliament. They're going to feel bad and they're going to bitch about it on a daily basis. Well, I don't think so. I think parliament is just going to continue with the acting chair, which is William Marlin, and then second acting chair is Cookie Belani. Sidat Belani. I told you yesterday that he was next in line, but apparently they told me William was next in line. So either way, that is the order of things. Yeah, so they didn't vote on a new president of parliament. They just have the acting and second acting still there, and they are going to continue the meetings of parliament. It just so means that Grisha Martin is not the president anymore. That's it. That's the news. That's all you could take out of it. So everybody, relax, get out of your feelings, because St. Martin continues to go. It continues. It's just continuing. It was a circus when these jokers were elected, and it continues to be a circus. So that didn't change. All right? Many people are calling for elections now. They want the elections now. I got to be careful with using the word now, because now, I just said it now. I said no like 5 times, 6 times. Wait, Chris don't own the word now, so I just going to say it whenever I want, okay? But of course, yes, people are calling for elections and they wanted rapido. They wanted rapido. In any case, it's set for next year, November. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. And when it comes to the government fall, or they don't have enough support, I was on the phone today with 2 to 3 constitutional experts, and they was as confused as I am right now speaking to you. And that's why, I had to end up doing this show so late, because I just wanted to wrap my head around the situation we have now. And this is most constitutional experts' side of things. In 2020, a governing accord was signed. It was signed by 9 members of parliament, and they formed the government, right? Remember Chris didn't sign? All right, good. Up to now, in 2022, 2023, 2024, yeah, so 2022, 2024, but they're going to decide to have the elections a little bit earlier, so it's going to be in November. But up to now, up to this present moment, members of parliament who have declared themselves independent has not withdrawn the support from the government of the United People's Party and the National Alliance. And that is the premise that they are governing on, which means the people that signed the accord back in 2020, they still have the mandate, even though you have members of parliament now that are not part of the political party that they were on. So these independent members, whether it's 5 or 6, well, in Grisha's case, she did say that she is resigning from the UP party, but they didn't say that she's declaring herself independent. To automatically assume would be an assumption. So for now, I'll just say, okay, maybe she is, then she would be the 6th member that is independent out of 15 members of parliament. So based on that, she would actually, and all 6 members of who are independent, or I should say all persons from the parties that signed the original agreement, which is the National Alliance and the United People's Party, have to send a letter, a letter, basically stating that they withdraw their support from the government. And that is the National Alliance former member, Ludmina Duncan and Christopher Emmanuel, 1. From the United People's Party, Grisha Heiliger Martin and Ludmina De Weaver, 2. So those 4 members have to withdraw it officially. Going independent or resigning from your party is just that, a resignation from the party. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you stop supporting the government. If you don't send in a letter to the governor, to the prime minister, stating that you don't support the government anymore, you withdraw your support, that is when the government officially falls. Because then the prime minister can say, Governor, we don't have majority in parliament, or we don't have supporting members, it's hard to govern, therefore we need to call early elections, and then we know how that goes, because we went through it so many damn times. I hope it's clear, because a bunch of people are, getting emotional, and they are coming with all kind of different angles. But to me, who have been covering politics for quite some time, that is where we stand at this particular moment, unless the members of parliament who are independent show us different and say, hey, Andrew, you're full of caca. I withdraw my support via this letter on this and this day, so therefore they don't have the support, and then you shut me up completely, because then I wrong. But up to this present moment, the independent members of parliament have not publicly stated that they withdraw their support from the government. When Chris left, because he didn't leave in the first instance. He didn't sign, but he was still part of the National Alliance faction. And then afterwards is when he went completely independent. Right or wrong? Good. But after that, he never said, okay, you know what, I sent a letter to the chair, or I sent a letter to the prime minister and the governor stating, I withdraw my support. Same thing for the other members of parliament. Right? So now, the 2 members of parliament who are supporting this government, do they really have to sign on to this government, or is just a question of whipping the votes so that they can get what they need to get? Because they are the premise that they're still a 9-man coalition, or I should say 10, because if Chris never withdraw his support, that means it's still 5-4 in parliament. 5 for the National Alliance, 4 for the United People's Party. Everything is gravy. There's no problems. Or you prove me wrong now, politicians, because you're not going to confuse the population anymore with these circus tricks every single time when we have this type of drama. And of course, opposition members using it to their advantage because they need to show that everything in disarray. The house is burning, the ship is sinking. Okay, that's good for them. That's their business. We don't need to, we got our own problems to deal with. So up, fix all your problems. National Alliance, fix all your prime minister. PFP, continue being Dutch. UD, turn into DP, who was DP before, then UD, and now DP again. I did hear some news that the PDP is coming back. And only people who know St. Martin politics knows who the PDP is. I had to do some research. And all I could say was, wow. That's why hearing, I could be wrong, but search it, PDP, St. Martin. You'll find some interesting stuff, all right? Welcome to the Late Night Show. We have a good one for you. Lengthy but informative, I hope.
Na 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 na. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, la 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 la. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Oh, what a wonderful feeling to be on the road. Be on the road, yeah. A woman like raindrops. And it blazing hot, yeah. In their costumes, they look like they're ready to go. The shoes done lace up and it's non-stop behind the truck. Non-stop. So show me the way to your heart. You and me will never depart. Once you're straight with me all the time and focus, let we follow the white line down the road. And we go wine, girl. Follow the white line down the road. You and your man, girl. Follow the white line down the road. And we go jam, girl. Follow the white line down the road, follow the white line. I hope you're not playing no games or tricks on me. Yeah. You better come straight up. Don't cause no emergency. My heart is weak for you, but my love is strong. So let we wind up and let we love up all day long. So show me the way to your heart. You and me will never depart. Once you're straight with me all the time and focus, let we follow the white line down the road. And we go wine, girl. Follow the white line down the road. You and your man, girl. Follow the white line down the road. And we go jam, girl. Follow the white line down the road, follow the white line. But don't touch, so just leave me, girl, alone. So show me the way to your heart. You and me will never depart. Once you're straight with me all the time and focus, let we follow the white line down the road. And we go wine, girl, follow the white line down the road. You and your man, girl, follow the white line down the road. And we go jam, girl, follow the white line down the road, follow the white line. How we go chipper, we go follow the white line. Hey, in the middle of the road, how we go follow said to follow the white line. I said to move, girl. I said to follow the white line. I said to wine. I said to follow the white line.
April said to me, too much obia in we country. On internet and every newspaper, advertising psychics all over. Frustrated men, desperate women, taking all kind of money, giving to them. All are young, aboard of the ship, on the obia trip, and they're doing any damn thing to get rich quick. Got them catching hell. Oh, they're walking. You giving your girlfriend a little horn, and all at once your stamina gone. Oh, they're walking. Then they say how Michael was guilty and still get away from Louis. Louis had a good African, and then Michael went and bring in a big Asian. Oh, they're walking. I say, people, listen carefully to the old folks of this country, and you're gonna get a good history from the backbone of what used to be local business that was doing fine. Now down the line, they can't make a dime. St. Martin business and all of she money and land only going into foreign cash man. I tell you, in the morning before they open, if you see them sprinkling something, oh, they're walking. And if you see Mr. Owner shaking a bottle down in the corner, oh, they're walking. And don't think it's jogging, they're jogging when they out all night like they walking. And they on the beat for the morning with a net. It's a zombie they're trying to catch. Oh, they're walking. Hey! Ding, 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 doy, doy, doy. Investors controlling the future, and look how they abusing power, overpricing to bust we all. They don't have no conscience at all. The little that we have, they're still trying to grab. It's greed, it's work at their backside full speed. Line tighty on everybody in society. You'll never believe they hands so dirty. Influential and wealthy, and they cannot enjoy the money. Oh, they're walking. If you and your woman was sweet and tight, now every night is a fuss and fight. Oh, they're walking. God makes get up and gone. Some say it's obvious, some say was on. Boy, them big shot deep in it too. So now we know what them school children say is true. Oh, they're walking. Oh, they're walking. Oh, they're walking.
That is it for the Late Night Show. Thank you so much for watching. Until mañana, do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.